Your unit is one of the strongest departments in the hospital. But deep down in me, I know there's still so much I can do. And I work better when I'm criticized. But the criticism just doesn't come anymore. So when the director is like, you are doing so well, back to back meeting, you are doing so well, you are doing so well. I sometimes some of the other head of units, I see some of them frowning and acting, but that doesn't bother me. But my focus is, when is the complaint going to come? When is the criticism going to come? Because I feel stuck sometimes that I'm not growing because I'm not getting that boost to grow. Because
all right, this is a very important point that he has raised. Most times it's the reverse. The owners of the business are trying to flog more mileage out of the horse. But you have to understand that the world is a global place now. So your identity. Okay. Your competition isn't the other people that work with you in the hospital. Your competition is any dentist anywhere in the world. Go out and find your tribe. See what they're doing. Push yourself. It's better to say you're sorry than to ask for permission. If it turns out that your leaders are satisfied with you, don't let that be your suit. Keep moving. Your colleagues will not like you because you raise the standards. But on your death, so keep going. Don't look back. Motivate yourself. Get what you're doing. You are a dentist, and you have this great equipment for fixing teeth. Or you have a laptop and you think you're so hot. Anytime you think you're hot, think about the guys who designed the equipment. You think you're too smart? Think about the guys who built the laptop. If you're afraid of getting into an aircraft, think about the people who've been to the moon. Raise the standards. And it's your job to do that. Okay? So, leave the turkeys behind. Be an eagle. No apologies. All right? Today's employee is your competitor tomorrow. I hope you know that. Your employee today could be your competitor tomorrow. Your job as a leader is to make them want to come back and want to stay with you because you create the right corporate culture. Okay? Yes, I think one more, then we can really start. We'll use up too much time. One more. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, Doctor, do you get feedback from your clients? Yes. You get feedback from your clients, and they do not have any complaints sort of to challenge you, or to move you forward, or to suggest that they need something further?
yes, I do. So we've been in practice for about a year, and I've seen I've done over 1,000 procedures, and we've had about 3 complaints. And of course, the hospital would investigate and poke and try to get the root cause. And when we get to the root cause, it's either the patient didn't come for the follow-up on time and the prognosis got bad, or the patient did not follow the instructions given, and we finally find a solution to the problems that they had, and it's resolved. So yes, we've had a few complaints, but eventually we resolved, but not from my end as the caregiver.
Okay, that's the second time you're saying your end and you and so on and so forth. Let me ask all of you here. Wherever you work, right? What's your job? What's your job? You. What's your job?
I'm a teacher.
Yeah, so you teach.
Yes.
And you, what's your job? You do the massage thing.
I do that, and I produce oil.
Okay, great, great. And you're a dentist in a big institution, right? And you, sir? Sales. And you, sir? Okay. All right, here's the point. Whenever you ask the question as a group, what's the job? It's never any of this. Take New Central. Everyone in New Central. There's only one job. And that job is to make News Central the best possible media organization in the world. That's the job. And in delivering on the job, we have functions. There are accountants, there are dentists, there are lawyers, but it's one job. If you can take that away, it'll change everything for you. It's always one job. Different functions, one job. When you understand it's one job, all the politics goes away, all the infighting goes away, all the jealousy goes away. When you have a football team, it's to bring the cup. Some of you will do it as defenders, as midfielders, as goalkeepers, but there's one job. Win the league. That's all that counts. Okay? All right, so I think we have to move on. We have to allow our gracious supporters and sponsors, News Central, wonderful station. How many of you here watch News Central? I'll show you, I mean, truthfully now. All right. And they're going to share a little bit about what they do. And here's my advice to you. I don't know whether it'll be next month or the month after that. But I can tell you that I've looked at some of the programs they have. And I'll tell you to find them and stay with them. Just yesterday, the CEO and myself were talking. Programs are going to come for people like you. All right? People like you. Stop following the news, okay? Make the news. Be the ones they cover, all right? All right, so, and after she says a bit about News Central, then we can get started. Is that okay? All right, thank you. Let me see the chair.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
I'm not going to use my microphone because it's going to distract me. But I'm going to shout. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold. I'm going to try and project my voice. Thank you and welcome to News Central, building. And thank you to Dr. Ikoku for doing this for us. Because this is something that we believe that we need at this time, you know, as a continent. Before I go into introducing you to News Central, I'm going to talk about the protocols for COVID. You can see the seats so that we can be comfortable, okay? And I'm going to talk about where the conveniences are. There's one exit, there's a way out through here and the other side. And if you go just beyond the lifts that you came in through are the conveniences. The men's are on the right and left, I'm not sure, but I'm sure you can find your way. Now, in case an unlikely event of an emergency, please do not use the elevators. Go down the stairs. Ladies, if you have your high heels on, remove them. Walk calmly down the stairs. There will be people to guide you down the stairs. And those are the emergency protocols for now. So I'm going to talk a little bit about News Central. News Central as a project is 4 years old, but as a broadcast station, we've been on air for a year and a half, so you can call us babies. But we don't see ourselves as babies. And that's why we can have the likes of Dr. Ikoku come and allow us, you know, sponsor this kind of huge event. This speaks about self-mastery and leadership. And a colleague of mine, a guest of mine, I should say, was talking about being 4 years old. News Central is a 4-year-old project as well. But we see ourselves as industry leaders because we're speaking for Africa. A lot of people tell you that they are African stations, but we are an African station in truth and in deed. I have a lot of our colleagues that are here who will attest to this. I'm going to talk a bit about our program, but I'm going to speak about what News Central is all about. News Central is a 24-hour news station, first of all. But our aim is to inform Africans, wherever they are in the world, about Africa. Because we believe that the mainstream media has continuously misinformed you, us, about who we are. And if you don't know who you are, you will never be able to make good decisions about who you are. Then you can start leading. And leading is actually a service. And so that's why we're here, and we have called you people to come, people like you who are great thought leaders in your industry and are striving for something. So I think I'm amongst colleagues who want to make a difference, who want to do something different for yourself and for your environment and this continent ultimately. I know that Dr. Ikoku is going to take this to the rest of Africa. Ghana is waiting. People are waiting. It's unfortunate Lagos is not ready to lead, but because we are not all here
Abuja here that had the last session was full, you know, but if there's any navigational problem, I'm sure our friends will find their way here. So thank you very much. Let me talk a little bit about what some of the programs that we have in News Central. So these are news wheel. We have news every hour. So we start in the morning with Breakfast Central. That's a 2-hour show that starts your day. It's a morning starter. It's a fast-paced show that talks about everything and everything, entertainment, business, sports, and what have you. So I think our time is fast. Let me just quickly run through this. Then this is the News Now, News Central Now. That's the news on the hour that talks about everything about Africa, what is going on in Africa, what is hot, what is not, breaking news, and with analysis. Now, Africa Headlines talks about the issues that are going on, the headlines, the bulletins of everything that is happening across the continent. Below the skyline, in Africa, there are some countries that are doing great things and people don't know about them. And for example, Djibouti, Malawi. Malawi is such a peaceful country. The issues that we have and are publicized in mainstream media are not discussed, but you know, there are countries that we need to talk about that are successes in Africa, and those countries, mainstream media will tell you about them. And that's why we discuss those countries in this program called Below the Skyline. Next. So, Continental Prime, that is anchored by Sulaiman Leda, a veteran in journalism business, talks about all sorts of things, breaking news. It's our flagship news that happens at 9 every day to 10. We talk about everything from business. We have special what we call human angle stories called Yami Yangu, where we discuss certain things that you didn't know about different parts of our continent. Lifestyle, sports, entertainment, different things are all jam-packed into this program, usually at 9. We have other programs. I think the first one is the Business Edge. Business Edge shows and analyzes financial issues, business decisions, policies that have been made across the continent, as well as things that decisions that are made outside the continent and how it affects the continent in terms of business. Business Square Africa is a daily current affairs program ranging from politics, business, socio-economic issues, using compelling analysis, storytelling. We have lots of very interesting guests on all these shows, and especially on VSA, because we address issues across the continent, not just from one side of the continent. You find out that there are a lot of similarities across the African continent, and so all these issues are discussed in Village Square. It's like a village meeting, but on the continent. Report Desk Africa, as we call it, RDA, is a weekly program where all our reporters from all over the continent, wherever they are, discuss the trending reports that they've done in the week. So it's like a weekly rundown of all the reports that we have for that week. Lots of human angle, investigative journalism, breaking stories, evolving stories, stories that are going to trend the next week. Those are the things that are discussed by the reporters on Report Desk Africa. That happens on Fridays. Secure the continent. And this is vital. This is where we talk about human insecurity. We talk about the insurgency. We talk about this program addresses climate issues, food security, anything that challenges or threatens the security of the continent is discussed here on this program. And we have a lot of interesting contributors, analysts that come on this show. And I suggest we pay more attention to this, because a lot of times the things that we think are the issues are not necessarily the issues. Because we have professionals and people who know what is going on. You remember there's a lot of misinformation. And this is where we break those stories. And you can get more informed and have more details about what is really, what is happening in the continent concerning our security. One slot is an interview session with somebody, high-level person, who comes and breaks down an issue on philosophy, on something that is trending, something that is affecting Africa, the continent. Sometimes it's somebody in power, you know, a thought leader, dealing with the philosophy and dealing with something, an issue that needs to be broken down for us. Because sometimes, a lot of times, things are being discussed. We don't understand what is the origin, how did this come about, why is this decision being made. And this person that is involved in this can come and give us a breakdown of this. And this is all about getting informed about what is happening on our continent. Now this is the conversation. It's anchored by Benga and Rita. We have a robust conversation, and it's really targeted at the masses, where we establish a connection between politics and the people that are leading these issues or driving these issues. So this is our political show where we have a conversation. We have a lot of guests that come and discuss all the trending political issues on the conversation. Of course, this is our flagship sports show. Now we're going into sports. You know how big sports is in Africa. We have East Central, that's our entertainment. Can't take away entertainment from Africa. We're leading in Nollywood, all what you know that definitely entertainment is big in Africa. Zero to Launch is our business program from when you start that helps entrepreneurs from when you start. We talk about to different entrepreneurs at any time from when you start to when you launch. Hustle and Grind is for businesses that have been in business for a while and how they, navigate the challenges that we're talking about right now. How do you navigate? So it's like the hustle and grind. That's how it feels like, in our continent. Behind the Magic talks about businesses that have evolved. So we go behind it, an individual, talk about their business, look at how they make the magic. Let me just put it like that. How does it work? Because what you see outside, you see this very successful person, very successful thing. How do you get to that point? Then literati, NC-Literati is our book club. Let me put it like that. That's where we look at the intellectual write-ups of Africa. And I find it very interesting because I find it difficult to find time to read. But it's hosted by Joseph Ike, and it's amazing because it takes us through, stories from history to contemporary fiction to different things, and we're able to see our own authors blossom, in writing and get to know about them, because a lot of things that we didn't even know about culture, diversity, history is also demystified in this program. Skin Deep is a beauty program where we talk about, of course, all the things we know about taking care of the African skin, beauty tips, and everything that you can think about in that. So this is just a few of the things that we have. I'm not going to go through. Jaziri is one of the very interesting ones. That comes up on Saturday. Jaziri is a women's show. Now, I was watching one in the studio, and I broke down and started crying. And that's when I realized that it is very important for women to tell the truth. Because these women that come and speak, they tell the truth. From female mutilation, female mutilation,
genital mutilation,
to so many issues that we have shrouded and pretended that they do not exist. These women talk about it. And you have people who come and say, yes, it happened to me. And I overcame it, and I'm struggling. I'm struggling. Sometimes they cry, sometimes they laugh, and we laugh with them and we cry with them. But guess what? We all need healing from this. And this is a very powerful show. And I think not just women, men should watch it. It's not just for the women. I think men should watch it. And Soft Work and Unbroken and Digital Nomads is our digital show where we show breakthroughs for young Africans, what they're doing in the digital space. And they're doing amazing things. Now, New Central is all about Africa. We're not speaking to anybody, we're speaking to ourselves. And there's so much that is happening, in Africa. It's just that we don't know. And there's so much opportunity that is in Africa, and we don't know. But how would you know? You need to find out. And that's why I think that you should watch New Central. We're on Star Times, channel 274. We have Avo TV. Avo TV is a digital platform on your internet. We have our own New Central TV on WhatsApp. We are also seen in 100 countries over the world. In diaspora, people are watching us. We're watched in the West Indies and in Caribbean. They want to, partner with us because they feel that there is a 400-year handshake where they've lost their roots and they believe that New Central can give them this. But if you don't go to seek the information, how do you know? And how do you know what people are doing? And that's what the New Central is all about, to keep us informed about the things that we can do in this nation, and they're great. Dr. Ebuku spoke about funding, and it's true. You don't want to know what this collaboration would have cost us, but because we have used some of the things he's taught us in New Central, we're able to do what we're doing today. So I want to thank all of you, and I just want to invite you to sit back, enjoy this ride, and learn as much as possible, because that's what I intend to do. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, please.
Yeah. Listen, if at any point there's a problem with the audio, just give me a sign and I'll look for a way to stop it so that when they get the audio, they don't get a lot of interference. I think that's fair, yes?
So I just want to explain about the audio. I really apologize. We're on the 11th or 13th floor, and up there is a lot of signal. In fact, our signal is probably the biggest. So we have a frequency interruption. So I really apologize for this, but I'm sure sound is working on it. I apologize.
Okay, so you're welcome, every single one of you. And as we go through today, you'll find out that one of the things I really believe is nobody's here by accident. Nobody. I don't care how you heard about this. I don't care how you fought those little devils that said to you, stay in bed this morning. But you're here for a reason. And because you have honored me with your presence, my approach is going to be totally vulnerable. I'm going to start with my story. I'm not sitting here because I'm better than anybody. So hopefully that will get us started on equal footing. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay? So thank you for coming. You know the topic is personal mastery and leadership hacks. Why do I use the word hacks? I'll tell you truthfully, time is too short. Why must I read 1,000 books if what I need is one paragraph? I mean, seriously. If you were writing a book today, you would have to make it look worth the price, right? So there'll be a lot of verbosity, but maybe it's just one or two sentences that really matters. And so I'm willing to be, to make myself as an example and try and extract for you what matters. I love to read. I've read, I don't care to count, too many books. Have they all been useful? I'm not very sure. Have I learned anything from some of them? Maybe not individually, but when you combine 2 or 3, something pops out. So what I'm trying to do today is save you time and money. That doesn't mean you shouldn't support authors when you see their books. All right? I'll be totally vulnerable. A lot of people know me as, they always try to relate you to your family. Oh, his grandfather is on the 10 note. Oh, no wonder he's successful. Oh, yeah. His father was an elder statesman. Oh, yeah, no, I said it, connections. Well, my family never bought me a car. They never bought me anything except pay my fees. So everything I have, I've struggled for. And so I know what people are saying. I mean, all this thing about connections, if it's there, it's maybe a help, but not the main thing. The question should always be, what if you are the one that will start something for those who come after you? And that's usually the key thing. I was the 7th of 8 children. Most of my sisters, except one, Bruce Transiter, still alive. Because I was the seventh of 8, I was the baby in the family. As a male, there's a younger one after me. Fortunately for me, her son is here today. So it's a special plus for me. I haven't seen him for a while. And but I was my mother's pet. I was pampered. I was spoiled. Let's call it what it is. And I could get away with anything. It was a beautiful time. I thought it was a beautiful time. But what had happened was I was learning how to be helpless. And I didn't know it then, but I was having a good time. And I started early. At the age of 10, I went to boarding house. And because I was so attached to my mother, you see, boarding house was a problem. I needed to see her. I mean, you wake up in the morning, you must see your mother. I mean, that's what I knew. So being up to boarding house, at the age of 10, I kept having this homesickness and everything. I kept falling ill. So after they had come for me like 3-4 times, one day the boarding house master said, enough of this. I have to fix this problem. And so when I got ill again, he said, okay, fine, you're ill. You won't go for classes, but you won't go home. So you can go and stay in the chapel until school ends. So I went to the chapel, and while I was there, and this time, I talk about cry wolf. This time I was really ill. But I couldn't go, so I stayed there. And this young guy came in, older than me. I was in Form 1, he was in Form 5 at the time. I won't call his name because maybe he's still alive, I don't know. But he came into the chapel. Oh, I later found out he was the star truant at school. So he came to me and said, what's the matter? I said, I'm not feeling so bad, and they won't let me go home. He said, oh, his uncle is a doctor. And he's feeling exactly the same way I'm feeling. So he wants to give me something to take, and I'll feel all right. I said, okay. So he gave me a capsule. And I took the capsule. After a few minutes, he said, how are you feeling? I said, what are you saying? He said, take another one. And after a while, how are you feeling? I think I'm okay. Maybe that was the third one, I don't remember. But he now said, oh, let's go and eat something. And it sounded like a good idea. So I went with him. Obviously, we jumped over the school fence, went out. Whether we had something or not, I don't remember. But I know that when we came out, we jumped back in. We jumped into the hands of our principal, Reverend Adelaide at the time. And he had a knack, he knew everybody's name. So he called my name, he called the guy's name, he said, my office. So we got to his office, and while he was talking, he said, this one, we know you, but you, Sam, you started joining these people. And that's the last thing I remember. And I remember saying to him, I don't feel very well, sir. And he noticed. He said, oh, wait, go to the dormitory. I will send for you later on. And I opened the door of his office, and the sun hit me in the face so hard. I woke up 1 week later. I had been in a coma. My mom and one of my favorite aunties was by my bedside. And it turns out that he had given me a capsule called Mandrax, which was a barbiturate. And I had taken, I think, 3 or so, but I had to be flushed. Totally unconscious, and all of that. But thank God I was spared. And so I went home, and then this debate came up. Should I go back to that school? Should I not go back to the school? And my father's position was, he has to go back to school. My mom's position was no, which of course suited me fine. So one day I heard my dad, he didn't mean to say it, I know that. I heard my dad say to my mother, I don't want to talk about this again. let this drug addict of your son go back to that school. You can't run away from a fight.
Since mobile data is turned on, you have to connect.
But when I heard those words, let your drug addict of a son go back to that school, something stirred inside of me and began a long time of rebellion against authority. I rebelled. And after a while, it became, well, since I'm called a druggie, I might as well do it now. I mean, so I got into that life of taking these drugs and taking marijuana and all of those things. I just rebelled against authority, but I stayed at school. And at the same time, I got into Eastern religions, meditation, emptiness of everything, the oneness of all life. I tell you this, if you're not grounded, that thing will take you where you'll never come back from. So add that to the drugs, I was completely lost. I don't remember most things that happened in my teenage years. I told you, I'll be very honest with you. I don't remember. And when I look back today and I'm seeing people calling me mentor, teacher, maybe almost even guru, the question is, how did that lost kid find his way to this place where he's living with such clarity and purpose? And that's what I would like to share with you today, if it's fine with you, right? And I'd like you to give me your permission to tell you stories, so I don't have to ask every time. I think stories are a great way to teach, okay? So anyway, drugs and all of that stuff, there's no need to eulogize such evil things. But it was so bad that it affected even my marriages. I married 3 times. I have 8 kids. Maybe I have 1 or 2 more. I didn't even know who I was cavorting with. It's the truth. You need to know the truth. Don't just sit here. You must know what he's had to deal with and what's made life different. And one fateful day in Ikeja, my cousin's house, he's late now, my soul was hurt. I knew there had to be something better. You know, there had to be something better. And I wasn't getting it. So this particular day I said, all right, let me just cross over to the other side. Maybe it's better there than here with all this pain and everything. So I got myself some, not the usual supplies, a little bit more. And since this one was terminal, got some alcohol, took a bit of it, took some of that stuff. You know, people like us, we're cowards. Even crossing over, we don't want to go with pain. We don't want to just sleep into the darkness, you know, just quietly and go. And on the carpet, I remember, I see the carpet so clearly. It was green carpet, and I can still see the grains of sand on that carpet. As I lay there waiting to go home. And I said to him and knock. I didn't hear a sound. Somebody was banging on the door. And I said, it became such a distraction. I said, look, get rid of the person and come back and continue this journey. So, by the way, it was one of my cousin's friends who had come to look for me. So I went to the door, stumbled to the door, opened the door. There was this lady standing there. I only met her about 2 or 3 months earlier. She was in the University of Ife. And she said, the first word she said, are you okay? I said, yes. I said, how did you find me? Because she would ordinarily have gone to where I stayed, not to my cousin's house. She said, well, she went to my place, she couldn't find me, and they said I was here, and she started looking for the place, and then here she is, and I think that's the last thing I said, and I collapsed. That's the last thing I heard, and I collapsed. She now tended to me. flushed me out and stayed with me. My cousin came by, she stayed there for about 3 days. And that was an awakening experience for me, because I now saw that there was synchronicity in life. No matter what you are going through, there's a parallel universe where your solutions are being resolved. You have to be around for that connection to happen. You have to be aware that it's there for it to happen. Many of you, I'm sure, nobody's heard this. Muslims never heard this story before. I said, I'll share it for the first time. And I also noticed that there was an awakening inside of me. There's a power that's higher than me. There's something that's taking care of me. And this is where I want you to start from today, to know that no matter what you are going through, even if nobody has listened to your story and nobody feels your pain, something is working out for you right now. You have to be available for it to come to you. And that began a search for stability. I knew that I was probably still needed. I didn't think of it in these words then, but there was still something I could do. So I began a lifelong journey with books and with mentorship. People I didn't know, I just bought books, I can name some of them. I just bought books. I had to fill in the space, the emptiness in the head. And started searching for remote mentors. So I spent the first half of my life totally befuddled. All of you here are better than me. I would never have attended an event like this. And even if I did, I wouldn't hear a word. But I turned up. You know what I mean? So I'm not fooled because you're wearing a beautiful suit, looking good. I know there could be something going on. I'm speaking to that something inside of you right now. Hold on. Because I held on and I'm here today. Okay? So, while all this was going on, life was being kind to me. I just couldn't see it. The lifestyle I had adopted, all the Oriental thinking and the reading of books and all of that, has taught me how to think deeply about things. And it's one of my abiding gifts today. I have the ability to take an issue and hold it up in space and freeze it there and walk around it